Hello, my friends, and welcome. Welcome to week 5, our final week of this year's April Poetry Celebration. I am so glad you're here. I have been having the most wonderful month with all of you, and I'm so grateful. And we have a wonderful time ahead of us today. I'm Kate Chadbourne, and I'm a poet and teacher. I'm the founder of the Bardic Academy and the Celtic Wisdom School, and I'm hosting this celebration in conjunction with the journal makers Jumping Fox Design. They really make wonderful tools for the writing life. They are very generously providing us with prizes, which I will be today announcing the recipients of our prizes. But all of you can benefit, and I hope you will look at Jumping Fox Design at their journals and binders, and we'll talk more about that. So we're just delighted to have another week of poetry. You came through beautifully as ever. So I want to share with you some poems from our community. Again, you knocked it out of the park. Whether you wrote one poem this month or 30 poems or somewhere in between, you succeeded, and I hope you feel proud, and I feel proud of you. And I also wanted to say thank you for sending me the poems. Your poems have made this such a rich, beautiful, funny, uplifting, inspiring month for me and for all of us who've gotten to hear them. So thank you. I'd like to start with a poem by my siren sister, Angela. It's called Lady Slipper, and I just thought today is La Bealtaine, which is May Day. It's a special day in Irish tradition, and officially it's the beginning of spring in the Irish tradition. The beginning of summer. But for us here, I sort of think we're really in the spring now. So I love this poem as a spring celebration. Lady Slipper. I am your slipper, not to be transplanted. I grow only where I am showing, in the wild untamed. I am Lady Slipper. Slide your tired feet into my pink flowering stocking. Feel your feet go happy, dancing nymph. I guide you alive, traversing dense forest of fallen trees, life's misfortunes. Listen to wind fluting sound. Create movement with me. Follow spring's awakening song. That's beautiful. I grew up near where some lady slippers grew, and they always seem like the most magical fairy tale flowers. Angela, that's beautiful. And it's an example of an I am poem that we talked about a few weeks ago. Now, you may recall our theme, right, for the month is people, although we've taken that in lots of different ways. And last week I invited you to write poems of praise. And my friend Louise wrote a pair of haikus, and they're called To Skip. A birthday haiku. At age 72, I'm still in love with you. Oh, my everything, I love you so much. You make all my dreams come true. What a wonderful poem for Skip. And just a great, I hope everyone take a leaf out of Louise's book. Write a haiku for someone to celebrate an occasion. What a beautiful thing. Tuck it in a card, write it on a lovely little piece of paper and present it to them. There's almost no better present. I think that's wonderful. Mary wrote a beautiful poem for her love, and it's called Paul, My Swan Man. And I love that. And I just to say, I wonder if Mary might have been thinking about the story of Angus Og, the Irish love god, who turns into a swan in order to be with his love. That's a medieval tale, and Mary knows it. At any rate, Paul, my swan man. We found each other on the plain, masked and unsure, but ignited by a spark. Messaging each other across hemispheres and datelines, we were so far away, but knitted closer with each shared word and united thought. Your arms are the warm, gentle, protective wings of a swan. Your wisdom is ancient and sure, Your storytelling is the hearth of our heart home, and our story is of truth and magic. We keep our masks off now, fully visible to each other and all, as we bring fire and water to this sacred partnership. My heart is full of joy and peace and immensely grateful to be sweetly swanning along with you in our floating nest of love. Mary, that is just beautiful. And Paul, the pair of you swans, it's just so beautiful. Thank you for that. My friend Ruthie, who is a great Shanachie, a storyteller and truly a wonderful singer, actually sent a prose piece of memory about her grandmother. And it's a bit long, but I wanted to read you part of it because it just moved me and inspired me. It says this: when we were young, living in the home I remember as our first, Nana would arrive from her home in Brooklyn, having taken 2 trains and walking from the train station in Oceanside, Long Island, New York, our town, with a paper bag filled with an assortment of things she saved for us to play with. I remember most the cereal boxes, which in those days had puzzles and jokes and things to color on the back. She always wore a hat, a long coat, a soft, long dress, often in dark blue with a pattern of flowers, and sturdy, old lady black lace-up shoes. She was an amiable grandmother with eyes the color of glacier blue northern seas. That is a whole slice of life. Just well done, Ruthie. Everything in there, it's so alive and so worth remembering. And thank you for introducing us to your Nana. So beautiful. My own, I call her the niece of my heart, my own dear Caitlin wrote a beautiful praise poem, not to a person, but to tulips, and I just loved it. It's called Praise to Tulips in the Night. Crimson, creamy pinks, and velvety yellows on reaching green stems. I love how you rise eagerly from the cool soil. You illuminate this secret dance floor we both share. I watch you glow in the neighborhood garden alongside an emptied bin and some sweet shrubs. Like the perfect book lamp, I would lay underneath you, then watch you like colorful balloons, laying down with my knees up while they ruffle your silky petals. I crouch next to you to listen. While doing so, I think about how I could kiss you. You fold into a perfect cup as you pose and pray when the sun spills over you in just your perfect moment. You open your soft hands to morning's touch. You open your soft hands to morning's touch. Oh, what a world we live in, and what poets who make poems about it. My friend Nick suffered a very terrible loss of his son, and he wrote a poem about the place where his son, also Nick, is resting. And, you know, I've been thinking that our poetry celebration has included all the lights and shadows and everything in between. And we also, you know, with this theme of people, I have written many poems for people who are no longer here, and poems for people who are here, every kind. It's really been so much fun. I feel like I love people even more. I hope you do too. And anyway, I wanted to give a nod to the wholeness of our lives through sharing Nick's beautiful poem. It's called In the Clearing. You too have come to rest like moss among the stones, alive still. Though a packet of ashes, your presence feels everywhere. Sitting on a log, we are. Facing your rock wall home and the perfect nook, a mini cave lit with sunlight, into which we place the can of ashes with a picture of you and Jenny. You can see Arthur here, sealing your cathedral. Meanwhile, on the log, Rachel holds Mom while she weeps, shaking from the core. Two strangers come by who are not strangers, but friends from another time. And Sue, that's Nick's wife, and Sue told them why we're here. They stayed a moment here in the field and disappeared into the forest, trailing stillness and the sound of his name. Suddenly, a light breeze passes through the pine forest, and with it, shadows and lights dance where he lay. From time to time, in my time, with Nick, I learned heaven on earth is here and now, as it was in the clearing, perfect as is, perfect as we are. Thank you, Nick, and also thank you, Nick. We needed that note. My friend Betsy, one of the most prolific and beautiful creators I know, I could talk to you about her all day. She wrote a poem called Flourish, and she mentioned that flourish is actually her word of the year. And I love that practice myself. My word, just to let you know, is jackpot, because life is a jackpot. So Betsy wrote a poem, an acrostic poem, where the first letter of each, the first letter of each line, it starts F-L-O-U-R-I-S-H. Luckily, I spelled that correctly. So you'll hear each of these, and it comes through twice. It's called Flourish. Flourish, as a trill is to a song, like a bold stroke of brush, or as peaceful as a hush, unbridled and headstrong, reaching past perceived wrong, innovating to charge up, siding deftly between stuck. Here's the place to be long. Flourish. From the bud spins the rose, leaning toward crescendos. On the high notes you hold, unfettered letting go. Realize dreams don't get old. In the heart, it's well known. Silent wishes take you home. Here's the place you belong. Flourish. If life's a canvas awaiting paint, I'll load a palette and make waves. Flourish. Yes, Betsy, yes to everything in there. I love the music of it. You can tell that Betsy is a wonderful singer and composer and musician, and she's a painter and a poet. And flourish, I just wanted that note here too, especially I feel like Nick and Betsy's poems are so beautiful together. Then my friend Mike, whose poems I adore, and also who makes me laugh every single week, he wrote this little poem, and it's called Why Bother? And I just thought, yes, Mike, again, Why Bother by Mike. Why bother? I try to avoid saying, why bother? Why bother getting better at playing guitar, or writing poetry, or learning Irish? I'm still going to die. But rather, why not? Yes, 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 Mike. Why not indeed? And you know why? Because it's fun. Fun is the thing. And finally, my friend Tricia wrote a poem called Waiting. And this is a good one for us here as we bring this poetry celebration, this year's poetry celebration, to a close. Waiting. I'm waiting for the poem to find me. Usually I have to go searching, like that toad squatting on the pile of rotting leaves, tongue ready to flick quickly to catch whatever is flying by. Or the robin, head tilted, watching for that slight movement of the grass, signaling the presence of the worm. Or the night moth, drawn to the flowers, whose petals, reflecting moonlight, promise sweet nectar. So today, I wait, while the toad, the robin, the moth go hunting. I leave my door open for the poem to come in. Oh, yes. What a beautiful batch. And again, let me say, I love all of the poems that you have sent. If these videos could be 3 hours long, I would just read them all. I really, really love them. And I am so grateful. Now, we're also very blessed. We've had with us our mentor, Wes McNair, and Late Wonders, his wonderful book. I can't recommend it highly enough. Give this gift to yourself, you know, for the poetry that you've written, as a celebration of the poetry you've written. I really encourage you. Wes, this is his most recent, and I really do recommend it as a great place to start because it contains poems from all of his books, but any of his books, you cannot go wrong. I just admire him so much, and I'm so grateful to him for serving in this way as our mentor. I have learned so much from Wes, and I know that you have too, because you've let me know that. Let's have one more poem from Wes, and it's a favorite of mine. Again, Wes really inspired our theme of people this month, because I have never read anyone whose poems more celebrate and have great affection for people. And I admire that so much. I think there's so much momentum toward despair, toward harshness in the world, and we really need the momentum toward appreciation of each other, toward more than tolerance, affection, and belonging. And that's what I hear in Wes's poems, a real desire to understand and to appreciate. This is a poem I just adore. It's called Happiness. Why, Dot asks, stuck in the back seat of her sister's two-door, her freckled hand feeling the roof for the right spot to pull her wide self up onto her left, the unarthritic ankle. Why does her sister, coaching outside on her cane, have to make her laugh so? She flops back just as she was, though now looking wistfully out through the restaurant. Reflected in her back window, she seems bigger and couldn't possibly mean we should go ahead in without her. She'll be all right. And so when you finally place the pillow behind her back and lift her right out into the sunshine, all four of us are happy, none more than she, who straightens the blossoms on her blouse, says how nice it is to get out once in a while, and then goes in to eat with the greatest delicacy. Oh, I could never finish all that. And a plum, the complete roast beef dinner with apple crisp and ice cream, just a small scoop. We love her. We love Dot, and we are so grateful to Wes for his poems this month. I want to share, so last week, our impetus was to praise, and I wrote a poem thinking of all of you, and it's called Roses. And I just wanted to say that I know that sometimes it seems impractical, and even as Mike said, you know, on the one hand, why bother? Why bother doing all this? And in some ways the world says that about poetry, and yet we do it for, we love it. So I wanted to celebrate all of you who carry beauty. And within beauty, I definitely include humor and fun and word love, which you all have, and we all have word love, and the desire to make things. That is all part of beauty, and that's what my poem is about, and I dedicate it to you, my friends. It's called Roses. Poets, you are the ones bold enough to carry roses. They told you it was impractical to lug around bouquets from work to the market and on the subway car and up 4 flights and into the chemo room and even to bed at night. Impractical and a little flashy, they said, like a person who craves attention. All that color and the mass of big blousy heads, the blooming horn of plenty you cradle like a baby. I mean, really? And the fragrance, a little too, I don't know, suggestive, a little, do you want to call so much attention to yourself like that? People are turning to look, they're staring. To say nothing of the thorns, and how you're pierced 9 times a day, how you forget the dagger, the danger, in all that velvet petal and scent, and how you don't seem to mind the inconvenience or the pain, the ridiculous difference of you, the stubbornness and the sometimes solitary oddity of you among the no-rosers, the ones who keep saying there's no need, why bother? It's a free country, but don't you realize you look foolish? No, you don't seem to mind or even notice, poets, and with bright eyes you declare that beauty is essential as breath, that beauty rescues and feeds, soothes and saves, fills up and clears out, reveals and clarifies, and that the moment a no-roser shows the least interest, you'll lead them to the garden and load their arms with flowers and thank them for carrying their share of the beautiful burden, and call them sister or brother, call them bold, call them poet. And that's what we do, my friends. We say to everybody, welcome in, poets, all of us poets together. I love that so much. Well, I want to now talk to you about Jumping Fox Design. Our beautiful little journal. We have one for our youth poet. I used a random generator this year, again, just instead of all the little slips. So I can tell you right now that the winner of this lovely little journal, and you can choose the color you like, for our youth poet is Rosie Bundy. So Rosie, thank you for your wonderful poems, and we are so proud of you. And we love having you and Declan in our celebration. And this year, this honestly has been, I think, my favorite place to write poems, and I think it's just going to go on that way. I have just loved the ease and the moving around and somehow the size of this. It's beautiful. Again, the poet in the back. We could write a poem about that. The pocket in the back. I've been keeping, it's been so fun, as I've told you, to keep my poem log, and there are 30 names in the poem log. It's just been so much fun. So we have 3 of these, and they come in other colors. This is Cadet Blue, in case you really love this one, which I love, for 3 winners. And I am so excited to announce our winners. Again, you know, I have to say, you are all winners. I have something for everyone too. But the winners of our Jumping Fox Design binders this year are Trisha M. Yay, Trisha M. Mike D. Yes. And Kathleen L. And I will be in touch with you. I'll say that again. Trisha M. Mike D. and Kathleen L. And I am so delighted that you will have these wonderful tools, and I hope that they keep you going in your poetry life. Now, I wanted to give you a present too, and I thought, what would be the most fun? And here's what I want to give you. Let's have an hour of writing together. I'll be in touch with all of you. It'll happen on a Saturday morning, probably about 10 in the morning. It'll be on Zoom, and we will gather. I will have some ideas to get you writing poems. You know I love instant poetry. And let's just have a lovely time, face-to-face, as it were, at least, you know, on Zoom, face-to-face, and a lovely time of poetry. So that's what I want to give you. We have one more poem to read, but I want to thank right now, first, Jumping Fox Design. I want to thank you for your belief in me, in us, in poetry. I want to thank you for your making of tools that really do make the writing life more fun, more elegant, just more delicious. I'm so grateful that you have backed us in this celebration again. And just thank you. Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for your belief. I also want to thank Wes McNair, again, our poet mentor. His presence in this celebration has meant so much to all of us and has given so much to all of us. And we all admire and thank you so much, Wes. I also want to thank our other poet guides this year. We've had Jean Flanagan, the Poet Laureate of Arlington. We've had my friend Doug Holder, who is an amazingly prolific poet and the editor of the Ibbotson Street Review, and just an amazing dynamo of poetry. And just all the links for all of these people are below in the note. We had Ellen Adair, and we had Josette Akresh Gonzalez, and we also had Ada Limon, who is our current U.S. Poet Laureate. So I love that we have woven in a lot of voices and a lot of perspectives, and there's something to spark all of us. So one more poem, and I want to show you, I hope you can see how this looks. Show you. It is just so deluxe that I had to print it out in color. It was sent to me in this beautiful red. And this is a poem by Declan, Rosie's sister. Sorry, Rosie's brother. Rosie is Declan's sister. And I thought it was the perfect poem for us to cap off our celebration. And it's called Goodbye to April Poetry Month. Goodbye to April Poetry Month. I'm so sad that we had to leave. It's as if we were concealed inside an enormous glass dome made with love, joy, and laughter. It's like it has fallen down. But it can be constructed again by writing our own poetry. This is just a temporary setback. It's so marvelous. Oh, Declan, I can't tell you how much I admire you and your poems. Let me tell you, I admire you deeply, and your poems and your philosophy. This is just a temporary setback. It's just another year. What a joy. So Declan gives us our final spark, which is keep writing our own poetry. Keep celebrating through poetry. Keep paying attention to life and to other people and to the things we love through poetry. That will keep us going. So my friends, I am so grateful to every single one of you, those who have just tuned in to cheer us on, those who have written one poem, those who have written 30 poems, and everything in between. It's really been such a joyful month of poetry with you. I always say I want us to spend a month reading, writing, and loving poetry. And with your help and participation, that's just what we've done. So thank you with all my heart, my friends. And I am wishing you, between now and next year, a year of reading, writing, and loving poetry. Every blessing to you.